basically we'd learnt loads of things not to do. And it was much better for that. And we ended up with I think like about 30 million people live streaming this classical performance by people who aren't that good. And that's quite impressive, frankly, in marketing terms. You try selling that. So it was about the event, it was about the experience, and it was about, when we start these projects, quite often we start with, who's the audience? Well, the audience is everyone. We've got about 2 billion people on the internet, let's start with that, and we're going to narrow it down. And what you do is you want to try and create the first level of communication which is as applicable to everyone in the world as it possibly can be. Music's applicable to everyone. Great. Okay, let's go there. And then we're going to narrow it down until eventually we're talking to the musical schools and the écoles. And then we're going to narrow it down to people who actually might want to take part in this. So then we had about 4,000 people kind of engaged on the channels. And then we narrow it down to the people who are actually going to bother to record their audition. And then you're into kind of the low thousands. Then we got it down to like 200 people who could play music. And then we have an orchestra. And then actually you have this one extraordinary moment where you bring everything together and you kind of like, you focus an awful lot. We focus, Google, because they're tech firm, focus an awful lot on that moment. And then you expand it back out again and you repackage all of that sort of outreach work then is repackaged as wrap-ups, as things that can be shared and shown and passed on and passed on and passed on. And it's kind of like, it's like an hourglass shape, really, whenever I think about it. This is actually one of the things I'm working with, because it's very simple technology, the Hangouts, and it's actually quite easy to get out-of-work actors and put them in front of it and dress them like Shackleton and give them, let them, do some research. It's actually really easy to do educational outreach. It's not terribly expensive, and so we've been doing a lot of these. I'm actually probably going to slip this one because we just watched this before. So another project that I did recently was with the Royal Shakespeare Company in London, which we did actually recently, last year. Doesn't time fly? Last midsummer, we did a Midsummer Night's Dream, and we did it online. So what we did was, I've got this big thing about kind of bleeding theatre out of the theatre. When I listened to the Facebook guys talking about the Pixel yesterday, I don't think about it as to how to sell tickets. I'm like, well, that actually means that from the moment that someone buys a ticket, you could start the performance because you know who they are, what they like, who their friends are, when they're coming. The performance could begin to, the characters in the play could begin to talk them to a point in time, which is the night that they're coming. And they don't have to see all of these things. We have like lots of different levels of audience, especially with theatre projects. I'll talk about another one on different kinds of audience in a minute. But that sense that you can bleed the theatre out into reality. And this was whether you could take Shakespeare and play it out over 3 days as if it was really happening and use social media to talk about what was really happening. Because, the king's just turned up and he's getting married in a royal wedding. That's always good news. So that was all over social